Alrighty, guys, I'm doing something a little bit different, a little more technically challenging. We are simulcasting to Periscope on Twitter today while we're also live on YouTube. This is not typical. Totally not typical for Mind Your Biz. Oh my gosh. There we go. And good grief. I just heard the double echo point there. So going to be on camera in just a second here. On both YouTube and Twitter. So pretty excited about that. Alrighty. Got that going. And there we go. Make sure that I have all of the tools in place so that I don't mess this up, because it's a little more tricky than you might think, but it looks like we are live. Welcome back to Mind Your Biz. My name is Seth. You're watching Mind Your Biz, the Mind Your Biz YouTube channel. And obviously, you're also on Mind Your Biz on Periscope or on Twitter right now if you're tuned in there. Give me a thumbs up in Twitter. Go ahead and retweet this if you're on Twitter. But of course, if you want to retweet the YouTube live stream, that helps also. Sharing is caring. And the more live viewers we have here as we go through today's news articles, the better. So yeah, even though this is a little bit more technical, a little bit more fancy than what we normally do, we can do this, guys. I'm practicing a couple of different live streaming techniques for upcoming events where we're going to be doing events in the Cosmos ecosystem, Cosmos space, interviewing some of the Cosmos founders. Also, the invitation is still out there for Daniel Keller and Greg Osuri to come together for a joint live stream, debate, broadcast. They both agreed to it. Then Daniel Keller, in an uncharacteristic fashion, backed out. I think in part because he wanted to go onto a couple of other mining specific channels to try to promote Flux as the alternative to Ethereum mining. And I don't blame him. As a marketing choice, that was really smart. That's a power move. But I think that we need to win hearts and minds across the aisle with proof of stake people, right? If we're only talking to GPU miners and only looking at chain security with Flux network, then I don't think that that's all of the addressable market. I think there are people who are looking to run an enhanced service node who might already be looking at running an enhanced service node for services like Akash network, and they may be interested in providing Flux nodes instead, or in addition to their Akash nodes. So I think right now is the time to build across the aisle. That's just my take on it, guys. You tell me what you think in the comment section. Of course, I know you will. The comment section is out of control, and I love it. That's why I had to come back for our live stream today. All right, guys, let me just double check to make sure that I've got this set up correctly. I'm still doing some back-end setup, SEO stuff for the stream. The hardest part, actually, of YouTube is not YouTube. It is all of the other links and the thumbnails that you do half the time. That's the hardest part of content creation in my experience so far, is that thumbnails occupy a lot of your time, coming up with titles, tags, SEO, just making sure everything is propagated out to the right spot. If you're watching this on either platform and you're tuning in for the first time in a long time, you may also notice the lighting has set up. Just the lighting setup has changed yet again because I have to prepare for mobile broadcasting. May have some additional office spaces that I have to broadcast from in the near future and that I have to record media from in the near future. So I need to make sure that all of this can be mobile. So I appreciate you guys being supportive, being here with me now. I see Latrell in the live stream comments on YouTube. I see Kevin Hawthorne tuning in from Lakeland, Florida. I might be not too far from you in the near future, Kevin. So if I am in the Lakeland area or in the immediate vicinity, I'll give you a shout out. Maybe we can grab lunch or something at some point there. B Baker is also in the chat. Appreciate you guys being supportive. Also checking out on Twitter. Need to double check to see what hour. There it is. Got the broadcast. Finally got the broadcast info there. Over on Twitter, I am seeing that we have some viewers as well. Not able to see our live stream comments as easily over on Twitter. It's actually a lot more difficult to manage some of the Twitter live stream stuff. So guys, thank you for bearing with me as I get all of this set up. That helps a lot. You guys just being supportive is, well, you're the reason I make this media. You know, it's not just lip service. But let me jump out of the way. Let me talk to you about our fear and greed index, just so that we know what the current baseline is that we're dealing with in terms of people's sentiment. Last week, we had an extreme fear score of 6. We were in the single digits for the fear and greed index, which is, not what we like to see. Unless, of course, we're looking for crypto to go on sale, and it was, right? I dropped the ball in terms of live media and live streaming like this, in terms of just being able to say, hey, look, we're finding a new local bottom. When Bitcoin did wick down to the $17,000 range, that was amazing. Huge buying opportunities, and now currently back up to 21,000, which we can see in our chopsticks chart. Wicking up to, or not wicking up, but building back up to the 21,000 range is pretty awesome. But according to our chopsticks on the daily chart, it doesn't put us outside of the channel that we've been defining with those chopsticks over quite a while now, right? That downward trend has not really deviated all that much. Yeah, we had breakouts to the downside. We've had a little breakout to the upside, but they look like a dead cat bounce when we're zoomed out this far into the daily chart, right? I think so. I think that it looks a bit like a dead cat bounce as far as a larger move. But then it puts us back into this channel. We may well see a correction back to the downside and kind of continue to operate in this sort of downward trend for some time. Guys, not technical analysis. I'm not a technician, as you know. I don't claim to be one, but I do very strongly believe that that the intraday sentiment and that even the 1 week sentiment should be taken with a grain of salt, and that there's so much more to these markets than just like what you can chart. You know, there's so much more to these markets. The dollar is dying, right? We're seeing it happen real time. The dollar appears to be dying. It's had its 50-year cycle since 1971, and it has definitely got one foot in the grave. And we're witnessing that real time. We're also witnessing commodities really take a beating. We're witnessing equities take a serious hit. And then we're also taking a look at international debt in a range that we've never seen in our lifetimes. It is, or that's ever even been recorded in history. So to believe that Bitcoin can sustain as some kind of a hard currency in the face of all that, when so many tens of millions of people, at least in the United States, right, are totally living hand to mouth, and then tens of millions are maybe not living hand to mouth, but aren't thinking about like, hey, what are my Bitcoin holdings looking like? It's unrealistic to believe that the adoption curve is going to race upward when people are thinking about basic necessities such as food, right, and shelter, right? Rent prices going up, finally actually reflecting what the current pricing situation is for the consumer pricing index, right? So there's so many of these other things that we're dealing with. So I don't see Bitcoin racing up to 100K all of a sudden now, you know. I think that the chopsticks chart has been pretty solid for us so far. Just a very simple sort of range, a very simple trend downward. You tell me what you think in the comments section, though. I kind of need to get your feedback. B Baker bringing the jokes says, broadcasting from the Mind Your Biz bunker in the near future, huh? Well, I can't use those words, but I'm glad you did. You're probably not far from the truth there. Things are pretty crazy in the world right now. That said, I can't think of anybody who I'd rather spend this time with than with the Mind Your Biz community and with the GPU mining and the crypto community more broadly during these kind of, crazy times. As we're staring down the barrel of so much uncertainty, I think this is the right group to be spending time with and to be talking about the uncertainty with together. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here with me now, being supportive, hitting all those buttons, clicking the like, sharing the live stream. If you're on Twitter, retweeting this. This is an experiment on Twitter, so appreciate your support. All that was to say, I'm not a technical analyst. If you were thinking that I'm giving you any kind of financial or investing advice, you gotta get that idea right out of your head. That's not what we do here. I cannot offer that. I certainly don't feel qualified to give anybody investing advice, and I don't have any FINRA certifications or any kind of a legal designation or professional designation as a certified financial advisor. So that's not what we're doing on this channel, but we are taking a look at trends, and we are trying to use a level head and question certain narratives, specifically narratives surrounding the price action. People all saying like, oh, it's going to 100K, and others saying like, no, it's racing to 10K. Obviously, it didn't do either one. It didn't race to 100K, and it didn't race to 10K either. But I do think that we are on this kind of slow trajectory downward, right? We're kind of bouncing downward, possibly somewhere towards the 12 to 14K range as a sustained bottom support. Maybe. I think that's kind of what we could be looking at. And there have been other GPU mining channels that have said like, no, 24K is what we're going to see, and they've been proven dead wrong. But you've got other GPU mining channels that have questioned the viability of Polygon. Who was telling you about Polygon being viable? This guy. Others who were saying like, nope, Polkadot is definitely the ecosystem to build in. Who was saying, Polkadot's okay, but it's not ready yet. Yeah, this guy. So I'm going to toot my own horn, where necessary or where appropriate, but it's not financial advice. Okay, you always got to put that disclaimer out there. Unfortunately, that's the game. Thanks for playing. You guys know how it goes, and I appreciate you being supportive of that. In a twist of how we do this show, I'm going to start by taking a look at our portfolios. So over on CoinGecko, we've got our GPU mining portfolio, and only one currently has a positive or a positive P&L. We got Flux as the only one that's in profit as a long-term hold. Why would this matter for Flux in particular? Well, this would matter if you were running a Flux node and you had to hold on to the collateral necessary to run that Flux node. As a long-term hold strategy in markets like this, it's not that I would personally endorse any kind of high-frequency trading or scalping, right? Swing trading or whatever. There are some people who do very well with swing trading. I'm not one of those guys. I can't sit in front of the computer and do this all day. I'm not a gamer either, right? Like, I can't waste that number of hours in front of a screen. Sorry, I know there's going to be somebody in the audience who's like, well, I'm a professional gamer. You insulted my nephew. He's whatever. He's a world champion. Look, I'm not trying to make it personal. I'm just saying that for me, I can't sit in front of a screen in that way. I can type stuff, I can create media, I can do this, right? Talk to the community and have a bit of a conversation kind of back and forth. But I really struggle with like sitting in front of charts and, looking at stuff like bouncing up and down and trying to, scour for certain indicators for certain things so I can do these high frequency trades. Like, that's not me. I couldn't do that. I don't think that I'll ever be able to. So if that's you though, then this has been an interesting time, right? Like, we have had some really good volatility, and this should have resulted in some good profits for people who are willing to do that somewhat more high frequency trading. Again, not financial advice. But the point is, here with Flux, it's kind of a necessity been a long-term hold because you have these enhanced service nodes. You have the Flux nodes. The same would be true of any other coins in this category where you can do staking, for example, such as we did at one point have Polygon. We don't in this side either. Gordon Murray's in the chat saying, I have 5 Flux nodes, might build out more. That's great. That's awesome, man. Yeah, if you got the collateral and you want to lock it up, at least based on the time of acquisition, so May of last year, we're now past the year mark, and I apologize, we haven't talked about that in a while, but we're actually past the year mark of acquisition for all of these paper trades. So in a year, you're still up 2x on your Flux holdings, unless you've been running nodes, in which case you're passively earning more. Latrell is saying, I've been trying to find a good VPS to host a Flux node. I'm going to drop that into the chat right now. This is my personal take on it. You can go to vulter.myb.lol. That should give you a discount on a VPS over on Vulter. You do have to fund the account, but it should give you a discount, and it's also an affiliate link that helps support the channel passively. If you're looking at running nodes for any of these projects, whether it's Flux, whether it's a competing system in IBC such as Akash, or any other, or if you just want to run whatever, you want to run your own VPN or anything, for any reason you want to have a VPS, check out Vulter, use my code, you will get a discount, you'll get a credit rather to your account, and you will assist the channel in making more free media like this. So awesome. Glad you asked. Was that kind of, were you lobbing me a softball there, Latrell? I think you were lobbing me a softball there. That was cool though. Appreciate that. You gave me a plausible reason to shill. So on our GPU mining portfolio though, guys, looks like that's the long-term hold. Let's take a look at the last 7 days though. And in the last 7 days, Haven has had the most positive price action upward, but it's still 95% down since we acquired this position. And it's under $1 at that. Guys, ouch. We've witnessed on this show the earliest beginnings of Haven. We watched it run all the way up to $24, and we've seen it all the way down to just 57 cents. I see Jesse in the chat saying, you're back. Missed your live streams. Awesome to see you. Hey, thank you, Jesse. Really appreciate that. It's great that you're here spending time with us on the live stream as well. Thank you so much for being supportive and for sharing the link. We're live streaming to both YouTube and to Twitter today, which is a little bit new for us, but you know what? I got the bandwidth for it. Literally going to try it out. And we might even expand to Twitch as well. We might start simulcasting to all three. You'll notice I'm not using any third-party services. I'm still using my typical in studio setup. And so that's an extremely important thing to me, right? As somebody who's a semi-technical person in this space, is being able to overcome these engineering challenges and do this on my own, right? Not rely on a third-party service to do it. So appreciate your support. Thank you so much. All right, looking back at that GPU mining portfolio, though, Haven has had the strongest 7-day performance. Same with Zano, then Ravencoin, Gemlink, Ethereum. But none of these is doing particularly well based on when we first picked them up. It's just been a very bullish week, right? So we're seeing that with Bitcoin as well. Jumping back to that Bitcoin chart, it's been a really strong 7 days, and we've seen sort of building back up. I think this is false hope. Personally, I think this is false hope. I think it is. It's not a breakout. It's a fake out. I think that this overall trend, I think it's going to continue, and I do think that we're looking at the teens for Bitcoin, that is in Bitcoin's future again, possibly bottoming out between 12.5 to 14K. You got Richard Hart saying it's 11K. You got you got all these other like gold bugs saying it's going to be 10K or going to zero. I don't know that I believe that. I think that the bearish case for Bitcoin is somewhere in the low teens, and then it finds bottom support, and it doesn't necessarily stay there for like 2 years. Some are saying the super cycle is happening, that it's broken. I don't know that I believe that. I think there's a really solid acquisition prices and really great targets, but I'm still keeping this DCA range exactly as it is, because long term, I think most of us expect that Bitcoin will go back above $40,000 again. I think in the future, it'll go back above. So if you just want a DCA, set it and forget it, that at least my logic tells me that this is a viable way to do that. So yeah. Jesse saying, hey, keep streaming, please. I'm going to do what I can here to increase the frequency of the streams, guys. Like I told you, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving this space at all. I'm doing a lot more in-person events. I'm doing a lot more business development of a few projects that I'm so excited about. I wish I could talk more about them, but I can't yet. It's just too early. And then I'm doing a lot of media on TikTok. So I don't know. I'm trying to diversify where I build up channels. Plus, I've got the explainer channels, 2 of them now. So yeah, Mind Your Biz is spread pretty thin, but it's never been better. And I'm here for the community. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Thank you for sharing, guys. Thank you for being here now. You guys are the reason I make this media, and I appreciate the interaction and feedback. So yeah, that trend I think is going to continue with a lot of different coins, and the last 7 days has made it all look pretty good, right? Rising tide. You got even Firo is up, right? Flux is gaining more slowly, but I think that's actually a strong indication that Flux has stronger fundamentals. I think that it's somewhere in between, right? There's not that crazy irrational exuberance where it's running way up really, really fast and it's going to crash again really, really hard. I think it's going to maintain that value really well. Paul D is saying $40,000 Chia? Heck yeah. Dang. Paul D just tuning in. You took the words right out of my mouth. $40,000 Chia. It's going to happen, right? Laser eyes till 40,000 Chia. We can do it together. All right. Oh, Gordon, first rule of Chia. Oof. Yeah, dead. I still have to do that crossover collab with the Poor Investor. I love that guy's content. It's great. When he inevitably tunes in, he's going to be like, hey, talking about Chia yet? Because he's got like a hit list of people that stop talking about Chia. Like that Dr. Dre album. Forgot about Chia. No, we didn't. Didn't forget to make fun of it, because it is a joke. All right, looking at our hard drive mining portfolio, you guys got storage at the top of the list, but it's not saying much. Chia at the bottom of the list, and it's $41 Chia. I thought you were saying $40,000 Chia. Oh, got it. Paul was saying $40 Chia. That's a reality any day now. But it keeps on skipping downward. It is only at about 94% down. The Poor Investor and I both agree that if it gets to $15, we got to get a huge old bag of this stuff, right? Like whatever, drop a few C notes on this mug when it's cheap, right? Whatever, get like 10 of them, right? At $15, why wouldn't you get 10 Chia coins? 10 whole Chia coins. Can you imagine? Because then it runs back up to whatever, 16K or 1600, and we're all very, very happy at that point. But Chia, yeah, bottom of the list, still kind of a joke. Filecoin still has its use case, right? That's the thing. It hasn't stopped having its use case. So for it to build over the last 7 days, not too big a shock. Looks like storage that's kind of where that strong P&L is coming from, is from the last 7 days, 100% up. And I don't know the story behind that. I'm not following the blogs of every single one of these portfolio projects. I apologize, guys. I'm not an entire brokerage or or brain trust for researching all of these different projects. So as you know, it's just me, one-man show for this channel. So I don't have all the backstory there on why it did 100% up, but maybe one of you does, and maybe you want to share in the comment section. Let me know what you know about storage that I don't, right? Like together, we're way more collectively intelligent than one person. So I appreciate your feedback, good, bad, and different, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you got to do. Let me know that we're on the right track, that we're learning together here. That's the word I'm looking for. The phrase I'm looking for is that we're learning together. So CPU mineable coins. Also, PNL is up, right? Last 7 days makes everything look positive. But it looks like PNL for Epic Cash is the highest. That's been the strongest long-term hodl, still under $1. Raptorium is the only other one that's in profit. Everything else is in the dumps just a little bit. XMR is not doing its worst, though. Definitely, it's like people all of a sudden discovered privacy again after they realized that CBDCs were being talked about. Even people like my normie friends who are basically no-coiners who are saying like, hey, you know what? I'm looking back at cryptos again because I heard about like CBDCs and that sounds kind of scary. I don't really like that. And, you know, Monero looks pretty good. I'm like, wow, okay. If my normie friends who like work in InfoSec or whatever, like normie is relative, right? But no-coiner friends, if they're talking about Monero, then the word's getting out, right? The signal is reaching the farthest corners of the internet where it needs to go. Monero is down pretty bad, 5 cents per coin. That makes me sad, but it's about deflated by 90% since we made this portfolio. So who knows? Maybe we're finding bottom support in the not too distant future, but maybe it goes to a cent. Guys, there are no rules here, right? There's nothing saying that Monero can't lose another 90%. We saw it with other coins recently. So unfortunately, even the coins that we like, they can kind of get dumped on as far as that goes. That's our CPU mineable portfolio. ASICs, this is the Jesse M. Come on, man. That's what we pay you for. The full service like brokerage research. The one-man research show. Dude, could you imagine? There's some people that actually do like that. They wind up only doing newsletters. And I mean, what would that be like to just like only do research and then publish a newsletter and then like have Latrell, right? Dude, I think sometimes we take, especially in the GPU mining space, we take for granted how upskilled a lot of our circle is, our inner circle of friends and family. We're like, yeah, that person's a normie, and they happen like whatever. They've got like 15 certs in InfoSec. They like whatever. They have like the $250,000 a year salary because they're like rock stars in that field, but they know nothing about cryptocurrency. You know, like we get a distorted view of what we've learned over the last several years together and our journey, right? And how long it took actually to acquire some of that understanding to get to where we are now. But yeah, everybody else is a normie. We're the intelligent ones. It's important to have empathy, guys. It just is. Like, just as a reminder, like when I say that kind of stuff, like I have to check myself a lot. We've got a lot of privilege in this space because of how much time we've spent in and kind of the understanding and path that we've been on. Proof of work, unfortunately, like is one of those things. Oh no, Latrell got me. Sends the $4.99 super chat using this for a legal retainer. LOL. He's right though. Now there's precedent. He's paid me. It's legally. It's consideration. I'm screwed. Well, appreciate that, man. Guys, I miss you. I miss you guys so much. I apologize that it's been a little bit too long, but you have to set up a schedule that actually I can stick to. And it looks like I may be forced to travel a little more frequently, which again, why I'm doing kind of this unique setup and getting things a little bit different, set up differently and a little more uniquely so we can travel more. Let's see what we got here. There. Yep. Looks like no comments coming through on Twitter. It's a little bit different, guys. Twitter live streaming. Nobody really expects this from me on Twitter, though. That's the thing. So this is going to kind of live over on Twitter. There's like maybe 1 or 2 people that's even bothered to look in right now. Oh my gosh, there's like nobody watching on Twitter right now because it's not. This isn't what I do on Twitter, so it's fine. YouTube is kind of the main thing. Plus, this is really practicing for something else. Oh my gosh, Jesse M. Yeah, the intelligent ones who. The intelligent ones who hodl from 64K down. Oh my gosh. Like, speak of the devil. Like I was saying, having attention pulled in like 5 different directions. I just missed a call that I literally have to remind them. Yes, I signed the document. Live streaming right now. Smile. I gotta do a smiley face. I can't say smile, you're on camera, because that's not literally true. Alrighty, but Fun times, guys. Fun times. Most people are feeling wrecked by the current market circumstances, but those of us who understand what the opportunity is inside of cryptocurrency we are beaming. We've never been better. There's never been a better time to pay attention to what the markets are doing and what our opportunities are. I'm just going to keep saying that, guys. You're going to keep hearing me say that as we watch Bitcoin deflate from its current position all the way down into the low teens. And the grin on my face is just going to get bigger and bigger while Bitcoin goes on even more of a fire sale, and every other crypto that we like, right, that we all love, right, our favorites, as they all go on sale. And we have an opportunity to leverage more of our available cash to take a better position, right, or work, right, and come up with new ways to provide value in the cryptocurrency and blockchain ecosystems. I'm like genuinely enthused. I'm genuinely excited about the prospects or the prospect of having a brighter future in crypto as we build now, right? All the grifters, they're gone. All the people who thought that there was easy money, they're out of here. And if they're not right now, they will be soon. So I'm genuinely excited. And then, yeah, whatever, fly-by-nights, people who could make a really flashy YouTube channel, but then got upset when they didn't become instant millionaires from their participation in mining, right? Like, okay, go, whatever. Sorry, that's not what this is about. Got to add value some other unique way. But ASIC mineable coins, Bitcoin's at the top of the stack, but that's not saying much. It's still 45% down since we made this paper trade. Zcash, it's still higher. As far as actual mineable profit, we would need to go to asicminervalue.com to get a more adequate sense for what this looks like. And we might do that in the near future with asicminervalue.com instead of just looking at Bitcoin mining. That said, the safe and slow path, right, the DCA path, is to look at SHA-256 miners and to just literally chip away at getting one full Bitcoin from a smaller at-home mine or a mid-scale mine, or scaling up with a bunch of friends. And wow, I mean, those ASIC miners, they're all 50% off right now. And the prices keep dropping. In fact, in my opinion, they look better than GPUs. And we're going to talk about that when we cover that article in just a little while. But right now, yeah, Dogecoin has seen the highest upside over the last week. It's only 7 cents, which is only 2 cents higher than the Monero coin, which I think is the closest competitor. It's really what we should be measuring it against. But its market cap has dipped well below that of Shiba Inu. Again, we'll talk about that with the news article linked in the description of this video, which you can see if you're on YouTube already. Pirate Chain is up, but I don't know that means much. Its market cap is still below $250 million. Now, for Pirate Chain, that means that there is, or should be, enough in the treasury for their lead development and for their community management that they're just fine, right? There's several OGs in that community who may well possess upwards of 1 to 2 to 15% of the total market cap in coins. And so they're likely well funded into the future. I'm not worried about Pirate Chain disappearing. What I do kind of worry about with Pirate Chain is that the adoption curve has been very, very slow. And so for a private by default currency, it doesn't quite have enough adoption, in my opinion, and it doesn't quite have enough tie-ins to DeFi, right? To either EVM or any other kind of significant DeFi, whether it's on IBC or it's on Polkadot ecosystems or some other type of smart contract network. I think it really needs to have those on-ramps and off-ramps. It needs to have those simple bridges so that we can use something like Pirate Chain in a very, very private way, personally, and then also see DeFi and yield and various on-ramps and various other financial instruments and time-locked instruments and, NFTs, which are really just the building blocks of these other instruments. It doesn't do that, which kind of makes me sad. So we'll talk about other privacy-oriented projects that do have all those other features in the coming days and weeks and months. Don't worry about that. Devault looking very distressed at it's knocking on the door of 5 figures in total market cap. So my heart goes out to Proteus and to Decentralized and the rest of the team over at Devault. They meant so well and they put in so much work, but this can happen even to good projects, guys, and even good teams. So Litecoin also coming back up, but everything, again, it's that rising tide. Everything's kind of coming up by double-digit percentages, unless you're Grin, in which case you refuse to even go up 10%. But if you're Grin, you also refuse to have a market cap of more than $10 million. And even Doge is laughing at you. You hate to see it, but that's the absolute state of things right now. FPGA mineable coins, Cadena, looking very, very volatile, looking very, very good. 0x Bitcoin also losing all that volatility, all the juicy goodness that it was known for before, but only Cadena is still in the red or the green and the black as far as our long-term hodl. Let's take a look at the last 7 days though. 0x Bitcoin, the greatest upside, but again, it's that rising tide of Bitcoin that's pulling everything else up. Interestingly, Cadena has the lowest upside over 7 days, but I still think that it's a bit like the Flux issue, that just like Flux, you got a lot of collateral tied up in nodes and in some of the ecosystem incentives. So you're going to see less volatility, even when everything else is like racing up. It's just going to sort of kind of crawl sideways in a more reliable pattern, I think. You tell me what you think of Cadena in the comments. Do you think that's true, or am I just making stuff up here? But I think that's what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting from both Cadena and Flux. But from FPGAs, go to our smart contract systems. As we already know, Luna is down in the dumps, but it's really Terra Luna Classic. I'm not even going to bother putting in the new ticker symbol of Luna. I'm just going to leave LUNC here. Apparently, it's had a little rally in the last hour or so. I don't know what that's all about, or last 24 hours and last 7 days. I don't even care. It's obviously toxic. Even the market cap, like CoinGecko, is not admitting to what the market cap even is anymore. But I just worry. I worry a lot about that. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So for safety purposes, like, I guess what I would say, that it isn't financial advice, but in this community, like, please be safe. Please watch out for projects like this that have had serious known struggles, and don't go like FOMOing in to try to grab last minute degen gains just because the price is really low. And so you might be able to like play in some kind of a virtual lottery. A lot of centralized exchanges that were carrying Luna, they halted withdrawals, right? And they halted trading. You don't want to get caught up in that kind of like craziness. It's a weird, poo coin vortex, and it sucks a lot of unsuspecting good people into it. I would hate to see anybody from the Mind Your Biz fam get caught up there. Polygon is down. Unfortunately, Cardano's down. Polkadot's down. Zill is down, which I don't want to be heartless, but it's just not something I'm following very closely. So if you're a Zill maxi, good for you. That just is not me. Could not be me, because we've got such a low market cap. Harmony, I know a lot of people are really excited about, but I can't help but think, like, again, it's too low a market cap to have the kind of impact that it would need. So I'm kind of in this category. Realistically, what I'm looking for is a greater than $1 billion or a few $1 billion fully diluted market cap, right? So fully diluted valuation of the market cap. Gundy's in the house. What? Gundy, what are you doing over here, man? Does your wife know? No, like, seriously, that thing. Does your wife know? These are the jokes, guys. Gundy knows, but does his wife know? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think maybe somebody should tell her. Somebody should. Anyway, guys, charts. Got over here, though, full $1 billion. $1 billion. Guys, that is so messed up. What I just said is so messed up. Please, nobody show that. I actually show that to Gundy's wife as though it's like a real thing. I'm just giving him crap, right? Like, it just dawned on me, like, somebody's gonna snip that out and like put it on Twitter and be like, "Oh my gosh, Gundy's wife! What have you done? What has Gundy done?" Mind Your Biz is tattling on him. It's nothing, but he might have bought a few GPUs that are off book. If we're being real, like, that might have actually happened in real life. Just saying. Anyway, guys, here in this category, we are looking for that $1 billion valuation. In my opinion, $1 billion market cap plus. So Phantom, while it had those tremendous gains, it has run back down. And who knows, maybe that actually is part of what's going to give it that secret sauce to come back stronger, right? Trying to fit the entire market cap of an underperforming asset into the market cap of a larger and a better performing asset is a really good game to play, as far as imagining, okay, where's the real upside for this thing? So on the one hand, like, I talk about it being, maybe cause to not take it seriously, but you have to see the use case, right? So I see Phantom, you got some Phantom maxis out there that are actually building on Phantom and, the EVM sort of multi-chain landscape as it is right now. But then you got Avalanche with its subnets, and you've got Polygon with its supernets, which I think is kind of a silly, name game. But Jesse, MYB on the offense today. Nah, man, it's Gundy. It's Gundy. He's got thick skin. It's just Gundy. Besides, his wife will be like, yeah, that sounds like Gundy. Thanks. Anyway, no, it's good to see the fam here, guys. we're just here we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And I apologize that it's been such a long time since we, went live and decided to have a good time together. So Solana in that number one spot though, guys, I look at that and I think, like, can it do a 10x? Maybe, because it did run up to 200, but like it was hard to see it double when it hit that all-time high, right? That's what I'm getting at. The market cap needs to make sense on some level. People say it's a vanity metric. It isn't. It really isn't. Not exactly. It is part of an actual formula that can be used to figure out, is this going to be able to run up anymore? And we did see problems with other coins this last bull market cycle. So yeah, that's our proof of stake smart contracts. Go with a 7-day. Polygon actually has the strongest performance over 7 days, but it took the biggest hit, I think. Plus, it has been delivering some additional roadmap items. It just launched a digital ID service. It's got ZK rollups happening at scale. As a sidechain scaling solution, it keeps doing its job. That's the crazy thing about Polygon, is that it's kind of, whatever. It's like a ballpoint pen. Seriously, when's the last time that you had a ballpoint pen that you're like, you know what? I love this. It's my most prized possession ever. Nah, man, you just want it to work. You just want it to run. It's just a tool. So I look at Polygon. I'm like, okay, I just need it to run. I need it to assist with Ethereum scaling. But I'm not one of those guys who's like, yeah, Polygon is like the core governance token or the utility token, Matic. It's going to run to $15 any day now. Each one of these is going to be like 150. Like, man, I don't know. I don't know about that. It is a utility token. And I don't know, maybe I'm pointing to a larger problem in smart chains and smart contract platforms, but utility tokens, I don't think that they have enough inherent value that they should run up to like huge amounts. I'm talking out of both sides of my face, probably, but you tell me what you think. Should utility tokens be valued at like massive amounts? Because they're, by definition, they're not meant to be hard currencies. They're meant to be utility tokens. Do you want the gasoline you pump into your car to go up in price? No, you just want it to get you from A to Z. So if that's all it does, and maybe you can do some voting with that utility token that is for gas fees, and then maybe you do some voting. Do you really want it to go up? I don't think I want it to go up that much. I think Polygon is actually staying at a price that I'm comfortable using. Let's see. Paul D says, why do Optimism Arbitrum get so much more love than Polygon? I think it's because they actually are more closely tied to layer 2 architecture, whereas Polygon is a side chain. It is not technically a layer 2. So I get that. I do. Optimism and Arbitrum, they're much more loved by the Ethereum core developer group as well. It could also be that there's the question of incentives, that there's a lot more people in the Ethereum core developer group that have more strongly aligned incentive to promote those projects instead of Polygon, because they're not direct stakeholders, right? So, you always shill your own bags before you shill somebody else's. Paul D says $5 gas equals $5 Matic. I mean, that'd be cool if it did, but I don't think they're correlated. Bryce Stevens says India's tax program starts on the 1st. What effect will that have on Polygon? Hey, it's a great question. It really is, but not it's not true. The entire team is based in India. They are a decentral group, right? And the DAO structure for Polygon they're putting into place might make that less impactful than you would think. And it is also possible that even though that program starts on the 1st, that they, depending on the corporate tax, sort of like the fiscal year, or how corporate taxes need to be filed throughout the year, that it might not affect them. Jesse M says Polygon is not a roll-up. Yeah, exactly. It does. They do have roll-up tech that's being developed, though. And that's what's kind of difficult about Polygon, is you've got this huge SDK and ecosystem that people can use to build. So you can do roll-ups off of Ethereum, but it's not, it's still like this weird amalgamation of various different kinds of tech that will help future projects within the Polygon ecosystem leverage ZK roll-ups. So, I mean, we're in a really weird in-between state. There's a lot of like growing pains right now in Ethereum and in all of the smart contract ecosystems. So, yeah. And then, Jesse also brings up the really good point that Vitalik is, pushing the roll-up features, which is why those roll-up actual layer 2 scaling solutions, which are roll-ups, why they're getting so much more love. That said, Vitalik has not been, hostile towards Polygon. If anything, he's been very, very supportive of Polygon and in their sidechain scaling. He's even gone on record as saying, like, hey, they're kind of necessary for right now. And that will be true until sharding actually is delivered in the beacon chain merge in the future. So we're still looking at late 2023, possibly 2024. But I mean, who knows? The way that they have this protracted delivery system, this really long, like a long-standing habit of taking forever to deliver milestones. It might not be 2020 till 2025 that we actually see sharding properly in place on Ethereum. So side chains, in my opinion, side chains are totally necessary. Optimism, Arbitrum, Polygon, Avalanche, all of them. We need all of them right now for Ethereum to scale right now horizontally on side chains and rollups. So yeah, both horizontally and vertically. We need that kind of scaling, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but give me a reason why in the comment section, guys. That's what I need to see from you. Thank you for that feedback, though, Jesse. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, that's smart contract systems in our portfolio. The junk drawer, I'm afraid of what we're going to see here. Saitama Inu still punching faces. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's unreal. Yeah, it's not believable. It is not. Oh, apparently. Yeah, it has pretty much told us that we own, with the current position and how much we've purchased in that fake purchase, we would own like 100% of the total coin supply. I guess that's our percentage of the coin supply. So it's a totally unrealistic position. We can't possibly be owning this much. And it puts us in, market cap that's not even realistic. We can't possibly have $86 billion worth of Saitama Inu. That's just not how much there is, and that's not its fully diluted value. So yeah, not its fully diluted market cap. Everrise, though, this is a little bit closer, maybe. And so that portfolio holding is also doing really well. The P&L, as far as the percentage gain, that's still legit. So it's a relative value. Even if we started with just a much smaller amount of Saitama Inu, it's still doing extremely well. Though there could be an Oracle data feed problem on this particular entry. So, take that with a grain of salt. Everrise, Luffy, also doing really well, over 5x up still, almost 5x up on Floki Inu, over 100% up on Dojilon Mars, UFO Gaming, Zion Network, Shiba Inu, Ampleforth, they're all up. So that's great to see that they're still holding some value if you were to just buy and hodl. Unfortunately, our entry point on Hex has put us in the hole, right? We're down on that entry point on Hex. Most people think that's not possible. However, if you factor in the longer term stakes, or if you have rotating stakes on Hex over the last year, you would have outperformed that 14% dip because of the yield of the T shares, the so-called on Hex. So that's something to be aware of as well. Everdome, unfortunately, down by 45%. That pains me. That said, the acquisition price that we put here of Everdome was not the pre-sale price. Most people got in on the pre-sale and are still up on their acquisition price, close to it, or at least at break even. So just to say, if you got in on a pre-sale or the initial public sale, right? That's the biggest thing, the initial public sale. You should still be up on that. So, yep, bunch of blood in the water here. Hedron way down, part of that ecosystem. Volt Inu way down, but I mean it jumps outside of our P&L and just shows us the 7-day or the overall trend, right, of those coins, price action of those coins. But it looks like biggest gainer over the last week is Hedron. That's interesting that it's gained the most over the last week, but it's still down pretty hard. Volt Inu up pretty well. Everrise, Dojilon Mars, some of those meme coins doing really well. Uniswap also seeing quite a bit of recovery. I can't believe it's at almost $6 right now. People who are complaining about Uniswap at $6, it's like, dude, look, if you got the airdrop, you'd be extremely happy to sell at $6. Like, you'd be perfectly fine selling at $6. If you have a long-term vision of what Uniswap is going to do and possibly that governance token being meaningful at some point in the future for additional forks of Uniswap, which it isn't and which it can't, then I guess hold on to it. But man, take the money and run. There was a great airdrop. It had a really good run. It ran right up to, double digits. And I mean, with some of these cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, just my take on it, some people are true believers, but my take on it is there are a lot of these governance coins that wind up not being as useful as they initially stated they would be. And you know what? I dump them mercilessly, or I DCA out of them mercilessly. Just get rid of them. If they're not serving you, get rid of them, in my opinion. But Uniswap is doing really well. SafeMoon Inu, my gosh. And Celsius Network, a little bit of relief over the last 7 days. Dang, we haven't talked about Celsius. I don't want to say anything that sounds, like I'm dumping on them. They're kind of an underdog right now. Hopefully they make it. We'll see. Hopefully Voyager makes it. We'll see. Hopefully some of these debts can be repaid. We'll see. Hopefully some of the loans from FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried will actually mean something. We'll see. It could just be that FTX gobbles the entire centralized, custodial yield platform scene. And then on the other side of all of this, they halt yield and they just kind of wind up buying a bunch of cheap Bitcoin and a bunch of cheap crypto assets and a bunch of user accounts. And we all of a sudden, if we want to do a centralized exchange, FTX is the new Binance. I honestly see it potentially going that way. You tell me what you think of that whole trend in the comments as well. Junk drawer is pretty well covered. IBC gang, a lot of blood here. We're going to just do a very, very light topical overview. Cadena is in the money. Nothing else is, but Secret is one of the highest in this portfolio. And I'm very happy to see that. That Secret is doing well. Terra Luna Classic obviously is totally imploded, just like dead. Akash Network is really low on this list, which tells me it's a very strong buying signal to me. But again, I'm not trying to give anybody else buying signals. I am interested in seeing how it does against Flux Network, though. So Akash Network seeing an extremely depressed price. To me, that is bullish. I'm very happy to see that. Persistence, way down. Kind of sad. They built a lot of tools for other builders in the Cosmos and IBC ecosystem. But, the market is very depressed. So you're going to see a lot of these coins and tokens that have even done well and been really good actors in the space get hurt really badly. Thorchain is the biggest winner over the last 7 days. Cosmos Hub, the King Daddy, right? The mothership of the IBC gang is also doing really well. But we've really got to see some re-architecting of IBC in order for Cosmos Hub to benefit most. I thought that at one point their governance model might be sound, but I don't think that they are. I think that the app-specific chains cut Cosmos Hub out of the value chain, which makes it a lot harder to hold their governance token and have that make sense, right? You can stake it and it'll be doing fine over the long term, but the actual utility that comes out of holding it, not so great. And yeah, there are not many fees that are paid in that ecosystem. So it's unfortunate. Comdex also recovering pretty well. Akash Network recovering pretty well. But these prices, guys, these sale prices, dang, about a quarter, about 25 cents per coin or per token. That's pretty great pricing. If you're into unit bias, getting many, many, many of these tokens, for $100 and then seeing them run back up. Comdex, I think, had an all-time high of almost $5. So to give you an idea, right, you are 87% down from our acquisition time. And even that doesn't really tell us the full story of how far it's dipped from its all-time high. I'm going to go into just Comdex alone, just because I'm curious, and I've had some conversations with their team. Not even $5, $6. Maxed out at $6. So 95% down from its all-time high. I think that's pretty strong right there. And then Akash Network also moderated that panel with Greg Osuri. It's on YouTube under the Decentral YouTube account. I will be re-uploading that in the next couple of days. But it looks like they are also 96% down from their all-time high. So it's not to say that they can't go down further. Of course it can. But these are, in my opinion, these are not bad DCA ranges for some of these coins if you have a strong belief in their mission and in their team. And so just take that for what it's worth. Secret Network, I don't think has deflated quite that far from its all-time high. Taking a look at the all-time high of $10, but it's still trading at what? $1.11. So we're about 89% down. Not bad. I mean, as far as losing some value and possibly setting some targets for acquiring some of these, I think Secret Network may possibly have farther to dip down before it has taken the full hit, right? The full brunt of a bear market. So these might all be signs that, we're not totally in a bear market just yet. But that's IBC gang, guys. Happy to take a look at some of those. Very, very excited to see some new leadership in that space with new projects coming out. You can take a look at my interview of one of the Jackal DAO leadership, which is an IBC-based project for decentralized storage that leverages IPFS and leverages Akash Network as well. Pretty cool stuff, guys, coming out of the privacy side. Encrypted storage, encrypted cloud storage that has the tokenization model built on IBC. Pretty cool. Very, very cool bleeding edge stuff. Take a look at that interview on the Mind Your Biz channel. You can find that in the playlist, the mega playlist of where we interview builders. All right, 10 set, not doing its greatest, but having a good 7-day performance. We did not actually put full paper trades into this portfolio because we just wanted to see the intraday and the 7 days. So over the last 7 days, Fame is coming up, 10 set is coming up, Everdome coming up, MetaHero coming up, Conga Exchange dipping pretty hard. Why is that? Kong Exchange itself seems to still have great liquidity. It is KYC free or KYC light. In my opinion, it's got reasonable KYC limits. You can typically see a link to that down in the description of most of our uploaded videos and the live streams. I believe in it that much. And if you wanted to do KYC just for a business, right, for an LLC or for a corporation that you run, they've got that in place. They're compliant, is what I'm saying. They're totally compliant with the travel rule and with any other, we'll say like red letter regulation where it's absolutely essential, but then not like hyper vigilant where they're trying to track every single thing all the time. Paul D says, Cosmos gave away the milk for free. That, dude, truer words were never spoken. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely the problem with Cosmos and IBC. Cosmos has put itself out of the value chain. Like, hey, they architected something that was so efficient that they are no longer necessary. It's one of the dangers of free and open source software, actually. And it's why Terra did so well for as long as they did, until, of course, they managed to have like total Ponzi-nomics in the UST, in the Anchor protocol and the UST stablecoin. But man, Terra, they ruled with an iron fist as far as being able to get value from within the Terra ecosystem, trying to get tokens to launch there as opposed to app-specific chains. And then they also, as a bit of like as a way of infiltrating all the other chains, they had the Anchor protocol and that could roll up collateral from other people's plays, capture collateral from other chains, and then the UST stablecoin that they would give them in exchange, which is functionally useless, right? Or worthless. Pretty brilliant as Ponzi-nomics go, but man, gotta like at the end of, all of that, what is it? The end of all the little like, what's the word I'm looking for? All the little Matryoshka dolls, right? You have to have a little kernel of value somewhere. They just didn't. It was like nothing at the core. So it's too bad. So that's, 10 set gems. And then last but not least, guys, I do have the stables side of the portfolio. This is actually essential now. We have to do this now so we can try to get some sense of whether or not any of the majors are decoupling or having problems, right? USDD has had a consistent problem over the recent week. And I covered this over on TikTok, and I think I re-uploaded it here to YouTube. You can see that in the YouTube playlist here for some of our shorts, but at 98 cents, that's not the worst decoupling. That does happen just from centralized exchanges and Oracle data feed problems with stablecoins on cryptocurrency, right? In the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Like, this is a known problem with Tether where it will occasionally look like it's trading at 97 cents, but if you go try to trade directly from Tether, they will repeg and honor the full $1. Now, the big gotcha there, right? The big caveat emptor is that if you wanted to pull out US dollars, have a wire transfer directly from the Tether website, directly from the Tether Foundation, well, I think it's something like $100,000 is the minimum, right? So you have to have $100,000, an order of $100,000, and they'll honor that, which functionally cuts out all the riffraff, right? And it probably cuts out, easily, got to be like between 30 to maybe even 70% of all potential requests to do that, right? All potential calls on the backing of the Tether coin supply. So is it fully backed? The world may never know, but they keep telling us like, nope, if you come with one tether, each tether is worth one full US dollar, and you can prove it by trying to withdraw directly from Tether. So it never fully depegs that way. So it's not weird for us to see these stablecoins occasionally depeg. Let's go back in time here for USDD. Go so 14 days. Take a look at that. And you can see that dip all the way down to 93 cents. There was quite a scare. It started at $1. And it took it a few days, right about a week, to dip all the way down to 93 cents. That was the top scare right there. But then trading was halted on centralized platforms like Binance. Binance, you guys, is CZ kind of buddy with Justin Sun? I wonder why that happened. Guys, tell me in the comments what you think of that. But I know that we had a bit of a problem with people not being able to use these coins in their intended way, right? For the intended purpose. At about that point, when it got most bleak, when it got most dire. See that trading volume kind of like slowed down and stopped. Trading volume went back up as measured. I don't know how it was measured exactly, but you see that full depegging event over the last 2 weeks, and it's still not quite fully repegged. I am not a fan of the USDD. I think anybody who's considering it should absolutely GTFO. You need to protect yourself. 24-hour volume, though, on decentralized exchanges like Uniswap doesn't look that bad. Not going to lie. It doesn't look its worst. That said, the bulk of the volume is on Huobi, which is, I think, where one of the exchanges on which the trading was halted and the withdrawals were halted. Ritz Blitz is in the chat, says Tether will honor it if they choose to. They have it in their fine print. They get to choose, or they choose to or not do business with anyone for any reason. Oh, snap. We do not like the color of your tethers, sir. We're not going to trade them for our dollars. They're both green. What's going on? Good call out. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I didn't realize that was part of their terms of service. That said, like, I'm not interested so much in going to Tether and trying to get $100,000 worth of US dollars wire transferred to me. The reason I'm into stables is so that I can have a decentralized and permissionless form of the dollar. That interests me. I don't want US dollars. I don't really care for US dollars other than some cash. Like, cash is helpful. Cash is useful. It travels very well. But as far as like digital dollars inside of a ledger at a bank, I think I'd rather be unbanked. I really do. I think I'd rather just have like digital currencies and not a CBDC. I'd rather have a competing currency from a different group that backs their dollars in a different way, or even a competing dollar. Like, I'd rather see that, like the Liberty dollar and like other local currencies. That's the world I'd like to live in. I want to see competition. The US dollar had its shot. It turned 50 last year and it started dying of friggin' cancer. So let's give some other young bucks literal young bucks. Let's give them a shot. But yeah, this is the trading chart here. It looks like, yeah, Huobi is where I think the majority of that trading was taking place. The trust score is just green across the board. So I kind of wonder if CoinGecko is in on it as well. But the 30% gains that Tron is claiming are possible with their version of the Anchor protocol, which is how the USDD stablecoin is created, is obviously not sustainable. If it is an algorithmic stablecoin that is offering 30% yield on the collateral being held, then it's being propped up by Justin Sun's personal net worth or by the treasury of Tron. I'm just going to say that definitively. Yeah, is that an unsubstantiated claim? It is totally unsubstantiated. I can't point to it on paper, but I can tell you that my gut is screaming. That's the only way that this little micro Ponzi of Tron and USDD, how it's being propped up. Because let's start by looking at the market cap. Market cap is less than $1 billion. Okay, well, why would I even bother saying that? Well, let's go over to CoinGecko, get the comparable up on screen. And the comparable is, or the other relevant side of this equation, right? The other variable is Tron, right? So Paul D, it's 50% more sustainable than Terra. It offers 30%. Oh my gosh. You guys kill me. It's great. But Tron right now, current market cap is $6 billion. So I think they've got the ability to pump this thing up to really prop it up. Even if Tron saw like a 50% correction in its price from where it is right now, it has the ability to absorb the total USDD market cap a few times over. So that's my sneaking suspicion, is that this is just a way for Tron to cross borders by having a stablecoin that is on multiple networks, right? So there it is on Tron, it's on Binance Smart Chain, it's on Ethereum. Man, now I really want to see it on BSC Scan and Etherscan. I got to jump down the rabbit hole, guys. Oh, stop it. Why? Oh my gosh. Why did you forget? My browser has gone amnesiac. That's probably all right. Probably okay. But yeah, on Ethereum, it looks like, I want to tell us the total. Yeah, it's got a little over 100 million. The fully diluted market cap, a little over 100 million on Ethereum and a little over 100 million on Binance Smart Chain. They played this pretty smart. They got about a little over $500 million on Tron natively, and they got a little over 100 million on these other networks. I mean, guys, he's not an idiot. Justin Sun is a really smart guy, and he plays his social game pretty well, and he's gotten the position in life that he is for reasons, right? He has his own personal net worth in the range that it is for very good reasons. It doesn't change the fact that I totally don't trust him or this. Right? I don't know, man. Guys, am I crazy? Am I crazy not to trust this or this or this or this? I don't think I'm crazy, but please gut check me here. My gut has been wrong before. Okay, guys. But yeah, this is why I have the stablecoin tracker here, so we can see kind of like what the highest market cap is. Looks like Tether has flipped USDC, but I think that's in part because USDC had to correct they had to change their story. They had to be a little more honest about it. I'm sorry. What am I talking about here? I got it exactly backwards. Tether's always been number one as far as the total market cap for stablecoins. Pardon me. I went, we'll call it temporary insanity. But I do think Tether corrected their total market cap based on how they are either, rehypothecating core backing funds or not. Still, I would trust either Tether or USDC more than I would trust a retail bank in the United States or a central bank in the United States based on their habits of rehypothecation, their practices of rehypothecation of the core assets, the core underlying holdings of a bank. So even Tether is preferable to that, in my opinion. That's just my take on it, guys. Binance USD, no, right. DAI coming up. I think people are printing more DAI than ever before. I don't know. There's not actually a market cap tracker here, but I very much trust DAI. Frax is coming up as well. And then also being over $1 billion holding or of holdings there. Liquidity USD I've kept here on this list because it's very interesting as an over-collateralized stablecoin. And I think it's a shining example. That and Frax are shining examples of what algorithmic stablecoins are supposed to be. And they haven't imploded yet. They haven't lost their peg yet. Even though, Terra Classic USD, still over $100 million held in that absolute garbage, flaming garbage heap. What is a stable coin that's trading at 1.3 cents? Garbage. So how do we have 139 million of it? People can't just take the L here. It's sad. It's really sad to see how badly some people have been hurt by this. But SUSD, just kidding, Synthetics USD, also over $100 million. All right, guys, those are our portfolios. Let's take a quick breather, guys. If you have questions, hopefully have answers. Let's go ahead and take those. I'm going to put you in the live stream lobby for exactly 1 minute so I can grab a glass of water so that I can continue the live stream. We're going hard today, guys. We're going hard. But I have some additional stuff for us to cover. We're going to go over our cost to mine. We're going to go over the profitability of buying GPUs right now versus the mining costs right now. We're going to go over a few news articles as well, talking about Shiba Inu, talking about Gary Gensler, talking about what Mark Cuban has to say about the current markets. I realize he's not your favorite person. He's not mine either, but he is a very public person with a highly informed opinion, just like Justin Sun, right? These are people who got to their position in life because they made some very good moves earlier in life. I do think that we can learn some things from them, and we can at least figure out what it is they have to say and maybe use it as a counter indicator if we have to. But then we also have some news from JP Morgan analysts talking about Bitcoin, all that and more after a small break. Do I often do this? No, but I need to today. Be right back. drink Mother Nature's fruit juice. That's right, water. I got a bottle of it here so we can continue the conversation. Thank you for staying with me today on today's live stream. A little bit different. We're still live streaming both to YouTube and to Twitter. So if you're not following on Twitter, by all means, be a follower on Twitter, be a supporter on Twitter. If you're not following on TikTok, you've got the link down in the description of this video. If you're not checking out all of the Mind Your Biz channels, I strongly urge you to do so. I've been publishing to TikTok some things that maybe don't go here to YouTube, and then I've been propagating some stuff from TikTok over to YouTube. So you're only getting a little fraction of what I do over there. And generally speaking, if you like some of the hot takes, if you like some of the off-the-cuff remarks, if you like some of the unfiltered commentary, I got a lot of that on Twitter. So you really should be a follower across those different platforms. And, you know, we do have the email newsletter, which I don't often publish to, but I know we're going to need to a lot more frequently in the future. Milos is saying it's almost midnight. What do you feel about Ergo doing okay on old Polaris with cheaper electricity? That's great. We're going to talk about mining profitability in just a second. So it's the right question, Milos. Let's take a look at that together. So guys, thank you for being supportive. I really could not do this without you. And I really do this content for you. So take a look at the cost to mine one full Bitcoin as it is right now. If we look at, let's not deal with custom hardware. Let's go with a Bitmain Antminer S9, kind of the core standard there. And you would need to have 4-cent electricity to be profitable on that equipment. Let's go to 103 and let's go to 3,200 watts. And we're looking at 12 cents per kilowatt hour to be profitable on the S19J Pro. So that's dipping pretty fast as well, just to be aware of that, guys. This is on stock firmware, say Brains OS at stock consumption. Unfortunately, we don't even have, they took away the opportunity, took away the menu options of the higher performing pieces of equipment here on the Brains miner calculator. So yeah, just to be aware, I do think there's a huge opportunity to start looking at ASIC mining specifically for Bitcoin, because if you can make it work on renewables right now, the acquisition price for ASICs is getting better than ever. I'm going to jump back to this comment in just a second. So do remember that and remind me if I forget, guys. It can sometimes be a little bit flighty. We've got a lot of content that we cover in the live streams. It's important to me to try to talk to you about the full 360-degree view of the markets as best I can when we do go live. So try to remind me in a minute. GPU profitability, though, not looking good. That 3090 Ti is only pulling down about 79 cents on 14 cent per kilowatt hour power. So not awesome there, but the price has come down. You're now spending a little less than $2,000 to get that 3090 Ti, but spending $2,000 to only earn 79 cents per day. And that's on Ethereum. No guarantees. And on Ethash, no guarantees, right? So on Ergo, you have the opportunity to potentially do, potentially earn 55 cents, but that's going to go down as well over time, potentially go down as well over time if we do see this massive market correction sliding into a bottom support with Bitcoin leading the way at about $12,000 or possibly less. And if everything else is correlated, then these prices will go down as well, possibly to around half, maybe even lower, right? As there's capital flight and as there's hash rate flight from some of these projects. But Ethereum will disappear altogether if they are on track for the beacon chain merge. So yeah, take all that with a grain of salt. Do you really want to spend $2,000 roughly on a GPU like this for that purpose? I wouldn't. I've been telling you not to for months. And if anybody else has been trying to shill you referral links to or affiliate links to buy GPUs over the last couple months, you really should go to their channels. You really should tell them that you're ashamed. You really should tell them that Mind Your Biz said, we've been saying don't buy GPUs for months. So really keep the receipts on that, guys. Keep some of these content creators accountable. Like I've been trying to keep myself accountable because I've lived longer than them as a content creator. I've lived through another cycle, so I'm not going to be that guy. I can't possibly be that guy this time around, right? So anyway, not to put too fine a point on it. Don't mean to, send fighting words anybody's way, but I don't think we should be supporting content creators that are getting their followers wrecked, like totally wrecked. So yeah, going through the list though, it looks like Autolycos for the Ergo platform, it's only profitable. We're in the top 3 on a couple of these different platforms here. So it shows up for the 3080 Ti, shows up for a few others as well. ProgPow is going to be hopefully it's going to maintain profitability on some of these projects, but it's such a delicate confluence of factors, right? Where you got the coin profit itself based on the coin value. Gobbles, the 13th Goblin, is in the chat. He says, "Hey-o, what's up, Gobbles? Glad you're here." But there are so many other factors, right, to maintaining profitability for that algorithm to maintain profitability as well. But ProgPow, like on paper, looks really good. It always did look okay. I guess it made sense to some people the entire time, but Ethereum didn't really need it, right? It wound up being a little bit of something else. It's useful though. It's useful for how it's useful, but not the most essential thing. Like you got Zhash or Zelhash. That was totally a different way of doing that. Gobble says, "So I spilled the ramen all over my bedroom carpet, and now my room smells like beef ramen. Yay me! SMH. I'm so sorry. But here's the thing. You could do worse smells than beef ramen. Like, you could definitely do worse smells than beef ramen. I lived in an apartment complex once that smelled like the birth and death place of 1,000 cats. I would have preferred beef ramen over that. So lucky you, Gobbles. I'm just saying, man, you won the lottery of like home living life space smells. Beef ramen, bro, all the way for the win." But yeah, it looks like, guys, profitability. I wish that ProgPow, I wish that Auto Like Us, I wish some of these other algorithms could be relied upon to be more profitable, but they're probably not going to be more profitable. Ethash, I think most projects will avoid using Ethash into the future. Paul D says shrimp ramen as a question mark. I don't know, man, because there's always going to be that random person that comes into your life space that's like, I've got a shellfish allergy, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, why do you exist? Like, seriously, why didn't natural selection take care of you? Shellfish allergy. Blah. Who even has those? But they exist, and they might be in your family or your friend group, so you have to put up with them. Jeez. Anyway, but yeah, guys, algorithms, I'm going to make a bold claim here. I think that after Ethereum goes proof of stake, Ethash is going to kind of go away. We're going to have to see a lot more projects go to ProgPow or variants of ProgPow. And then with Ethereum, we know that there are ASICs available for Ethash. So one of two things will happen. It'll either go away, or there will be another tentpole project, such as Ethereum Classic, that maintains the Ethash dominance and sucks up all of the hash rate of the existing ASICs. But it'll have to have a DAG file size that's small enough to onboard all of the old Ethereum ASICs. Because even though they're not like true ASICs or whatever, like they're kind of like fake SICs, they have to have it has to have the smaller DAG file size to make sure that those ASICs aren't left out, because there is a memory limitation there. So that's my thought. I think that most projects that are launching now, if they're launching now, or if they're rebasing their code to revise the proof of work algorithm, I think a lot of coins will just avoid Ethash moving forward. But I don't know. It's a weird prediction. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Got Crypto Dom saying, "What do you think about mining helium?" Let's talk about that in a minute. I'm ideologically against the concept of helium as a project, but mining helium, if you could get your hands on the helium miners before, it made financial sense. But that's going to decrease over time, and it's becoming very oversaturated for a bear market. That said, it could be that the network operators and the miners of the helium network, that they are nearing capitulation. It might be a good time to buy their used helium miners if you know you can deploy in a less congested and less saturated coverage area. Then who knows? It might be a good choice for you financially. That said, the helium network itself, I'm not a huge fan of, but business is business. If you know you can make a profit, it might be the right choice for you. Moving down to the bottom of the list, I got a lot of GPUs that have been left out in the cold that are no longer profitable. The 4 gig Polaris cards are definitely taking a beating, but I did see Milos saying that Ergo is doing okay on old Polaris with cheaper electricity. Let's see. Ritzblitz says helium is switching to 5G for your information. Sounds like new hardware will be needed. Yeah, that's about that. That's weird. Why? It's so dumb. That's so dumb to me. Okay. I don't know. So I guess sell me your old helium miners because I want the single board computer inside of it. That's my reason. There's actually kind of there's a need for those just independently for like full nodes. I'm being dead serious. If you have helium miners and you're worried about the switch to 5G and you want to get rid of old mining hardware, then whoa, Paul D is saying you have to buy a new license for used helium miners. I think I'm not a fan. I didn't know that you had to buy new licenses. That's crazy. Latrell is saying some of the content creators talk about core degradation with KawPow. Could that be an issue if some of the other projects go to ProgPow algo? Yeah, it totally could be. ProgPow is such a compute intensive algorithm that it absolutely does burn up GPUs. Ethereum mining doesn't burn up GPUs. You can actually undervolt to some advantage and wind up not damaging them. So there's good aftermarket resale value. Some people will say like, well, that's the feature of proof of work is that you're using something up. Like you prove that something is being fully dedicated to it. And I mean, I listened to all those narratives for a while. I just don't agree with them anymore. There are plenty of other proof of work algorithms that do show good faith work efforts, but don't destroy the hardware. They're sustainable from that perspective. And I don't mean hard drive mining, guys. You saw my media about how hard drive mining is a joke. It just is. It's a joke. It keeps coming back every couple of years just to be laughed at again. Right? It's a dad joke at that. Right? So it's like just keeps getting reused and rehashed by somebody, some newcomer who's like, you know what? I got a brilliant idea. I'm going to save mining by using hard drives. No. Red Splits is saying supposedly 2 million helium miners on back order still. I'm not shocked by that. And if they move to 5G and they're end of lifing, right? They're shelving all the previous generation of miners, then I want to know what people's plans are for those. And if you hold a lot of them, then I want to talk to you about your plan for sunsetting all of that old equipment, because I've got some ideas and I'm not going to talk about them here on the live stream, guys. Sorry to do that. I don't often do that, but talk to me about that, because I'll find a home for them. I can guarantee you that I'll find a home for them. But let's jump out of this view. Take a look at the biggest losers. Unfortunately, Milos is saying that he's doing well with the 4 gig Polaris cards on Auto Lycos. So it looks like NiceHash is returning a number for that. I think you'd have to have much lower power. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into the what to mine, the hardware specific view. So we're going to look at just this hardware profile of the 570 4 gig card. And it looks like if we just decrease that by a few cents, we're going to return some profits for a few different projects. So let's just pretend like you have access to 5-cent power. We're going to go crazy here. So you have 5-cent power. And it looks like, yeah, you are getting some profit on Raven Coin and ETH Classic and Auto Lycos to a much lower, I guess not to a much lower extent, to a somewhat lower extent, and several other coins as well. But 5-cent power is also, it's a strong candidate for having ASICs where you've got much lower maintenance cycles as well, guys. We're at that phase in the market cycle where you may want to be acquiring certain kinds of hardware, but only running the most hardy types of hardware, right? So ASICs are so much easier to run in a bear market than GPUs, because you don't want to have to do any maintenance if it's at all possible. You want to just set it and forget it, not touch it for literally a year or two, right? And never deal with your maintenance headaches. Just see it print money and deal with the occasional downtime. And especially like you're seeing some large scale miners do a mineral oil or an engineering fluid dunk. Just like get them under liquid and stop thinking about them if you can. And ASICs do that a lot easier than GPUs do. So yeah, I guess it's okay. Auto Lycos. Let's see. Ergo. I still haven't formed a strong opinion on Ergo itself yet, guys. And I apologize. I know that I probably should. But I just haven't formed a strong opinion on it. I've had that very strong anti-Cardano bias for a long time, and building in the Cardano ecosystem to me has been a counterindicator on Ergo. I shouldn't have that strong a bias, I know, but I admit that I have it, right? Like I've been kind of anti that. Gobbles the 13th Goblin says, LOL, Papa, mind your biz. I found you from when Chia was first started. I thoroughly enjoyed your perspective on the matter. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. It's kind of funny. Like, it can be lonely being the contrarian, but I promise I'm not just being a contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. Like, I am trying to be thoughtful about this stuff. With Ergo, though, I'll admit I have a bias that might be irrational, because I'm like, it's built on Cardano, faulty foundation. I'm moving on. Like, that might not be the best reasoning. Maybe I need to take a closer look. Let's see. Let's see. Chronicle is asking, if the migration of ETH to POS goes bad, what do you think would happen to community price, etc.? Yeah, that's a great question. Migration of Ethereum potentially going bad to proof of stake, and I've talked about this pretty publicly, guys. I do have some concerns. Yeah, yeah, Ritzblitz jumping to that comment. He says, I always cringe at the idea that Charles Hoskinson determines my Cardano's future too. Yeah, I tried watching a whiteboard explainer video that Charles did in 2017, early 2017, talking about Cardano and its value proposition, talking about what it's building on, and I got lost about halfway through. And I like Charles. He's an intelligent guy. He's a sharp guy. I'd love to talk to him more in the future, but he kind of lost me in that explainer video where I kind of felt like, at any point, here, you could have inserted a bait and switch. Like you could have bamboozled an audience on a whiteboard. And, hey, I've made media and I've taught classrooms for a lot of years. I'm familiar with where you might retain audience attention and where you might lose it. Even if you have like what looks like a cohesive through line for education, you can throw a lot of information at people. You can overwhelm them and make them think that you're dropping like these huge pearls of wisdom, right? All this knowledge, when really you're trying to get them to accept the idea that you can provide them a solution to a problem they have. Like, media changes, technologies change, but the fundamental nature of sales doesn't change. And so selling a highly technical thing, all you have to do is get people to believe that you can provide the solution to their problems. Like, that's it. And usually you sell them. So I got a little bit concerned by watching that media by Charles from 2017. So I'm with you, man. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, but I would like to have more live stream collabs with him and maybe moderate a panel or two. I did moderate a panel at Decentral the same day that he was there, but I didn't moderate his panel, unfortunately. So hopefully that happens in the future, guys. That's what I'm working on. That's what Mind Your Biz is focused on. Like, that's been the goal the entire time. Get closer to where the builders are, talk to the builders, make sure that that we all have a chance to really hear them and evaluate, like, are they telling the truth? Can I trust them to build what they say they're going to build? So we'll see. But with Cardano, for me, I just haven't felt really strongly that Cardano has built what they should have built by now, by 2022. Or delivered what they should have delivered. You got smart contracts on EVM competitors that are using proof of stake that already perform at about the level that Cardano should have a few years ago. And Cardano is not pushing through very many smart contracts per block or per second. So, yeah, they lost a lot of my confidence. And seeing the Ergo project run on Cardano again was a counterindicator. And I'm probably being too harsh with it. But yeah, I just don't see 95% down, right? 95% down in our portfolio. No public allocation. Sorry, I read it wrong. That's pretty cool. Looks like it's very community oriented, fair launch. That's awesome. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to like about it. Hey, the BPSAA is also a very strong indicator of privacy. These are some really good people. This is, I think, Draith from the Pirate Chain project started this when it was just Pirate Chain. There's Sentinel, Ergo as founding members. Looks like Signum as well. BitTube, which is not quite. It's hurt, but it's not all the way down, right? It's down, but not out. And then also Conceal, Firo, Handshake. That's pretty cool. Etho, a lot of different members now. Awesome to see them all there. So that's pretty strong as well. I guess, you guys, you know what? I think I probably have to interview your leadership, don't I? I mean, that's kind of what I do, right? Like, if somebody knows or is in contact with the Ergo team, like, I'm not very active in their community or anything. Please do, like, if you want, on my behalf, just say, hey, you got Mind Your Biz who's interested in doing leadership interviews, hit them up. I would love to explore that way and talk to the leadership. That's usually the best way for me. But yeah, appreciate you asking from before. Jesse's asking about Algorand. I'm not going to do a deep dive on Algorand right now. Paul D says, Cardano devs were smarter than ETH devs. They turned perpetually missing release dates into a badge of honor. Yeah, right? It's like, you guys don't understand. Like, there's finesse to this game. And I mean, my hat goes off to those guys, right? Like, we should all be so intelligent, like you're saying. We'd all be so smart and have our business development game that finely tuned, right? Like, can you imagine, like, becoming independently wealthy, a massive mega multi-millionaire, not delivering a damn thing? Like, that's the American dream, isn't it? It's like, well, I can describe the problem that we're going to solve. Oh, you want results? Well, that's going to take longer, and it's going to take more money. Give me more money. And then become a mega multimillionaire just doing that over and over and over again for almost 10 years. Bravo, right? Bravo, slow clap. They earned it, right? In a way, they earned it. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed. So, yeah, I think Paul D's onto something there as well. That's pretty cool, though, to see that they are partners with the BPSAA. I remember when it was just an idea, and when it had, like, that BPSAA website had no partnerships listed just yet. So shout out to Draith and the Pirate Chain team. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I do need to take a closer look at Ergo, but I've been saying that for months, guys. So somebody, like, save me for myself and get me in touch with their leadership team. Maybe I need to do that too. But I've got so many other things, like, on the plate right now that it's hard to carve out time for that unless it comes to me. So that would be awesome if you guys are willing to. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Ergo, is that I just have not gotten a closer look. I probably should. And if they're working on privacy orientation of some type, whether it is ZK proofs or some kind of ZK inherent ZK mixing or ZK smart contracts that are built into their system, then that's great. I definitely want to talk to them. But that's our GPU mining profitability, guys. Current pricing on Ethereum, the gas price is 36 Gwei. Current median contract fee is about $11, a little higher than before. It was about $5 earlier on before I started the broadcast. Bryce Stevens is asking about what's your thought on staking ADA in certain pools? Well, my thoughts on staking anything is that it is possible to stake and see yield from staking on certain protocols and still be upside down in your investment by the time the market starts to correct. When the market, rather to the upside, starts to correct into a bull market. But once it goes back into a bull market, anybody who's staking right now on any platform that supports staking is probably going to be made whole. So staking, if you're already in, and if your bags are, underwater, right? If they're heavy, then, I mean, you kind of don't have a choice. You kind of need to double down, and you kind of need to stake in order to see that bag grow before, and then wait it out. Wait until your bags go back into the money again, right? So Milo says there is an Ergo mixer, and I'd love to see that, right? Guys, I'd like to take a closer look at that. I'm not going to debut that on today's live stream in the interest of time, but I really appreciate that you're nudging me in that direction. I will take a closer look at that. That's my word. I will take a closer look, and I might even just carve out some time today while I'm out doing some family time. Just pull it up on the phone and try to chat or try to look up some of that Ergo mixer stuff and privacy orientation building that's happening in the Ergo space. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. But yeah, ADA, as far as that goes, wow, delegated staking, no slashing. It does sound better, but here's the thing. Staking without slashing is de-risked, and I don't believe in that. Does that sound weird? Like, I don't believe in staking without slashing. Like, if there isn't slashing, then, and you claim that it's de-risked, then I have some concerns, right? I wonder what the mechanism is that prevents slashing. I think there have to be penalties for staking and staking incorrectly to the wrong validator. But I don't know. Maybe there is a far more utopian way of having there be like some specific staking delegations. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that staking and slashing, there should be inherent risk, guys. Where there is no risk, there's no real reward. Like, if staking without slashing means you're also missing out on the potential much higher upside. So you're not just getting staking rewards redistributed to everybody. I mean, that might be just fine. It's totally okay. And I think that's fine if there are certain funds or certain wallets or like DAOs or whatever that stake across multiple validators or every validator and then give you a kind of a slice of that. But then they're going to take their chunk too, right? Like, anytime that you de-risk, you take percentage points off the table for the potential upside. It's just my take on that. I think it has to come from somewhere, right? It has to. It can't be. And maybe it is a protocol primitive. Maybe it's totally built into the protocol, so you're de-risking some of the staking on some level. But even then, that will be priced in. That's all I'm going to say about that. Like, I'm okay with the idea of there being potentially slashed rewards, which is why, like, I'll do the shopping with my bag to stake to different validators and try to be smart about where I stake, right? Because I want that maximum upside, or I want it, if I want to have it sort of like averaged out across a few different validators, then I'm going to choose those validators. I don't want the protocol, or I don't want, some third party. And I definitely don't want Charles Hoskinson choosing for me how much the maximum upside is for me, just like my trades, just like my investments, right? So just my take on that. But jump back out of the way. Median contract fee, yeah, it's kind of all over the place right now. Transfer fee is as low as it's been in quite some time. So if you need to rearrange your Ethereum bags, or if you need to use a ZK mixer like Tornado Cash, great time for it, guys. Really great time. Nothing illegal about it still yet. Knock on wood. Maintain your privacy. Be sure that you have post-mix wallets that are totally clean on your EVM wallets, MetaMask, and on your hardware signing devices. And be sure that you properly set your privacy house in order, right? It's going to be so much more important in the coming weeks and months. It is still legal to use zero knowledge protocols to mix your funds. Do it. That's not financial advice. That's just street smarts. Make sure that what is yours remains yours by keeping it private. So same with Bitcoin right now. SAT per VByte is a little bit higher than we've seen in the past, but still the US dollar equivalent is only 37 cents. Great time to use Whirlpool or Samurai Wallet, just so you know. And DeFi Llama showing us that Ethereum is back on top at 63.3% dominance, and that's across all chains now that Terra is out of the picture. So we are seeing capital flight into the strongest DeFi ecosystems, and we've talked about this before. This was expected, that Ethereum is regaining quite a bit of dominance, but only because the pricing is going lower. So as the market corrects into a lower towards bear market support, we're going to see Ethereum kind of stay strong, though. That's interesting. Actually, it is dipping again. It's continuing to dip. The question is, what is coming up to take its place? BSC is all over the map. Tron also has taken a larger chunk than I expected, but in part that, it just has to do with the TVL. And the TVL is a much more easily gamed number when you have some of the tokens and, the BS tokens that you see on like Tron. Avalanche, Solana, Polygon, I think to a much larger extent are actually building ecosystems that have sustainability, that are not a house of cards. Solana, though, to a lesser extent. Guys, I'm just going to say here on the live stream, Solana keeps having those validator resets. And while I have nothing against people who are choosing to build in Solana, I have a concern about the underlying network itself. I would not be building on Solana myself for any projects. Projects that I'm advising on will not be building on Solana. That instability of the validator network, I don't care how much theoretical throughput it has. That's a problem. Solend, the platform, the fact that they're voting to try to take over a private user's wallet to prevent them from dumping, right? I think it's something on the order of $100 million. Like, I don't want to be on a network that can do that. And Solana is showing all the hallmarks of centralization and bad faith action that will keep me from using it. So, like, again, nothing against the builders. There are a lot of good builders who are choosing to pursue Solana because they think that the performance is all we need. No, we need censorship resistance and we need decentralization too, right? So that, to me, means that it's going to be the EVM competitors. It's going to be Avalanche. It's going to be Polygon. It's going to be Ethereum. It's going to be BSC even BSC. When BSC looks like a less centralized, or a less censored version of DeFi, you got problems, man. Like, when BSC looks good compared to your chain, that's bad. That's really bad. So I'm looking at, like, when we cut out Solana, the rest of the top 5, they're all EVM, right? And even Tron, like, it's not exactly EVM. It's like a weird hybrid, like Franken EVM. It's not truly EVM, but it's pretty close. Ritzblitz says Solana lost all credibility when they threatened to liquidate the whale. Exactly my point. Can't do business there. Can't leave any of my tokens there, because if it happens to the biggest whale, I mean, they're trying to make an example of the biggest whale. What happens when, whatever, 3-letter agency or nobody, right? A fake 3-letter agency gets hacked and gets an email sent out from a 3-letter agency email account over to one of the leadership of Solana, indicating that you are a bad person. They're proving that they're willing to just like take whatever logical foundation for that decision and go liquidate somebody's account. So if it can happen to them, it could happen to you, it could happen to me. Not doing it. Not doing it. So yeah, looking at the overall market gap, Ethereum is really widening that gap. Tron, I'm just like not happy to see it. So let's take a look at TVL for all the EVM chains. This to me is what we should consider DeFi moving into a bear market. There, I said it. EVM is kind of the only thing that matters, except for maybe EVMOS. Like on some level, right? When you got, there you go, 50 billion in TVL, 6 billion, 2 billion, or 3 billion, almost 2 billion there, a billion there. This is where all the action is taking place. So every other chain, like they may have some good things happening that might be nice. Take a look at non-EVM. And top of the list, yeah, you got Tron with 4 billion, you got Solana with 2 billion, but then the nearest competitor, Waves, is just knocking on the door of 1 billion. I mean, that's in the top 5. They're not even close. They're just not. I mean, it's nowhere near what it needs to be. And Nixon wallet, that's a different kind of headache. That's just way too centralized. That's weird. Yeah, just weird to me. Osmosis DEX, I would love to see their volume I would love to see Osmosis. I would love to see IBC and Osmosis DEX just tear through these numbers. That'd be great. The technology is so fast, so smooth. The hacks have not been as fast or as furious as on other networks, but the fact that they did have some problems recently is, again, it's just sad. But guys, numbers are numbers and markets are markets. Markets are based on numbers. So yeah, to see there be 10x the amount of TVL in Ethereum versus any of its nearest competitors, and then have none of those really even be able to step to like BSC plus Avalanche combined, like to have all non-EVM networks barely total the top 3 outside of Ethereum in EVM, the category. It's such an uphill battle. It's just huge. And Secret Network, who, I have a lot of respect for, the fact they've got privacy as a primitive on IBC for faster performance, like it doesn't do enough. We need good bridges between some of those networks and Ethereum and the EVMs in order for that to make sense. Cosmos, again, we'll take a look at this. Evmos should be here. Why isn't it? Okay, let's go back to all, and we should be able to see Evmos. There it is. It's number 66. And yeah, TVL it is so hurt. Not even $8 million total TVL. It's not even close to being a contender, but this is kind of the bridge between Ethereum and IBC. So if that's not way up, if it's not showing bridging volume, then it's just not happening. It's not happening as fast as it needs to be to give that meaningful bridge between all this juicy TVL on Ethereum, BSC, Avalanche, Polygon, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not where it needs to be. Kronos also should be, let's see, actually, why is it not listed here in Cosmos? Because it's definitely not an EVM. Oh, what am I talking about? No, I'm sorry. It does function as an EVM, but the Kronos... Man, now I'm talking in circles because the Kronos itself actually runs on IBC. Man, now I feel like I'm going crazy here because I know that it's got an EVM. It's got an EVM structure to the smart contracts, but I thought that the actual chain itself ran on Cosmos and Tendermint. So maybe I got it exactly backwards. But I do not want to see. That's what I wouldn't want to see is Crypto.com, the Kronos network, gobble up everything also because of its centralized nature. Guys, here's where DeFi starts to get a little bit tricky, right? Like we've got all this TVL, right, on these largely public networks. And then you got privacy on these really, really small unsupported networks. It's the sort of the Monero versus Bitcoin problem all over again, but with smart contracts. So yeah, it makes me a little bit sad to see that there's not an easy solution to that. But yeah, interesting to see that, yeah, Ethereum, I think what I'm seeing is there's a lot of capital flight into Ethereum if you look at it overall, especially with the EVM networks, but even when you just go across all of them, right? I got some filters here too. Look at that. You got rid of the double count filter, so it's should not be counting its own market cap as TVL. Though, I don't know. I think right now, under current market conditions, we should take a look at that. We should see what it's like. And it looks like that does widen the gap. It looks like that takes Ethereum down a little bit. And it does introduce, not quite a different leaderboard, though. Yeah, it is still pretty much the same leaderboard, but it does kind of pump up some of those numbers a little bit for some of them, just by a tiny bit. Let's see what the other filters are they have here, though. Include in TVL. Staking. All right. That's cool. All right. We're learning some new tricks here, guys. I definitely do appreciate that. So it looks like staking also doesn't quite reshape that. But staking, pool, borrows. We're basically gonna chuck everything into the overall TVL because we want to give everything a fighting chance at showing its maximum buying power. And then aggregating counts. Hey, look at that. Aggregate chains. Yeah, you know what? I actually want to see that too. I do want to see L2s. There we go. So now when we drop down, now we do see Arbitrum, Optimism, Metis, ZK Sync. That makes so much more sense, doesn't it? To see the TVL actually include the entire ecosystem. Polygon as well, because they have some subnets already. There we go. We got ZX or SX network, which is not much yet, but it is technically an L2 there. And we want to see both. So subnets, which should, in the case of Polygon, show some supernets, but it doesn't. Interesting. It should, but it doesn't. But subnets, supernets, parachains, in the case of Polkadot, should absolutely be included in Polkadot. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it does kind of make that a much more tidy comparison between all the rest there. Now, I like these filters. I like adding them. And then emulators, I don't know that I get why we would add an emulator. But if it is going to contribute to the TVL of entire ecosystem, then by all means, let's do it. Jesse's asking, are you participating in the Arbitrum Odyssey event? And I am not. Yeah, I am not participating in the Arbitrum Odyssey event. I know. Y'all's opinion of me just dropped. You're like, who is this guy? I feel like I don't even know you, Mind Your Biz. But there you have it. Bitcoin. There we go. Yeah. See, Bitcoin should have RSK rolled up, but it should also have stacks. And it should also, stacks should be there as well. And so should, for Bitcoin, it should also have OmniLayer protocol. And anything else that runs on top of it, right? It should have city coins rolled into this as well, right? Being built on stacks. So, this is not a perfect representation, but it's not bad. It is an improvement. It's nice to see all that there. Cardano as well should have more, right? It should have Ergo here within the Cardano ecosystem. I don't get why that tree wouldn't show Cardano and Ergo nested there, right? So that said, actually, Ergo, right? So there's Ergo with about 5 million in TVL. That should absolutely be nested underneath Cardano. So I kind of wish that was built into this tool. That said, I mean, dang, what a valuable tool as it is. DeFi Llama, this is for free. I'm not even seeing ads here. I've never had to use ad block that I'm aware of. Pretty amazing what they do here as a public service. But yeah, that does kind of shift things around. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So 62%, all things considered, brings it back to 62%. Does bring the nearest neighbor. It really creates some distance between Ethereum and some of the other big players like Solana, because there's nothing else being rolled into Solana's numbers. It does help Polygon gain some ground, helps Avalanche gain some ground. BSC stays kind of propped up only within its own ecosystem. There are no additional projects building on top of BSC because there doesn't appear to be much of a reason to do that. But yeah, I like that a lot, being able to see that representation of it a lot. Including TVL for selected. Interesting. That's funny that there are filters down there, but then they also have filters up here. So yeah, much prefer that. Guys, I think that even still, we were seeing Ethereum head towards the 50% range, marching towards 50% market dominance, and it has recovered, and we might see that trend continue to reverse as the pricing goes lower. I think more people are just thinking like, all right, we need market cap for our projects. Where's all the market cap? It's over on Ethereum. Guys, appreciate you watching. I know this is a longer live stream, but I wanted to catch up with you and talk about the entire market, so that's why we're doing this longer live stream. I think once we get a more consistent cadence, we're going to look at like 30 to 45 minute live streams, so we have something a little more tactical on a regular basis. You tell me what time of day works for you. My analytics are telling me that I need to live stream at some point in the mornings, but looking at potentially live streaming not only to YouTube, but also to Twitter, Twitch, and potentially a couple of others, a couple of other services as well. That kind of changes the nature of what the analytics will tell me. So you tell me in the comments what makes sense to you. Alrighty, that's DeFi Llama. That's kind of the overall look there. Map of zones is telling us that in the IBC ecosystem, like the daily volume, this is a different measure. Axelar, Osmosis, Cosmos Hub, the volume in versus the volume out. These are essential numbers to separate, but the total volume overall does put Osmosis in the number one spot because it is that huge, it's that DEX, right? You got people staking there. You got people providing liquidity there. You got people single asset staking on Osmosis instead of doing single asset staking on chain for various reasons, right? They may be preparing their liquidity to do some liquidity provision or yield farming there because they can't do it on other chains. Osmosis is like the de facto DEX of the Cosmos ecosystem. And this is, again, guys, this is where I got confused. Got Chronos and Crypto.org that are listed here as well because they do kind of dip into both EVM and IBC. So a lot of really interesting things happening on all those chains. But yeah, important to take a look at if you're interested in IBC. I think there's huge opportunity here. I think both in Cosmos and in Polkadot, I think there's probably more opportunity in Cosmos and in Polkadot than there is on Cardano. Shh, don't tell our Cardano maximalist friends. But the total market cap, the TVL, all of the action is low in Cosmos and Polkadot, but the amount of building and the amount of milestones that have been delivered is much higher in these spaces. So if they're building more, if they're creating more SDKs, if they're codifying new standards, if they're helping new projects to ship, but the TVL isn't there yet, the trading volume isn't there yet, the overall market cap isn't there yet. Well, guess what happens when the market runs back up again? That's right, they blow up. Whereas on like Cardano, Latrell, long live stream is saying long enough. I appreciate you saying that, man. We've definitely gone longer live streams in the past, but it is Sunday still, and I do owe the family some time still, guys. So I'm gonna probably cut it short at around 2 hours ish. So we got a little longer to go, but I appreciate that. I know I probably should live stream more for longer periods of time. We should probably cover more stuff, but what I'd rather do is when I do have time, be more tactical and make them a little bit shorter, guys. Sorry, I know, boring, lame, boo, but that's how my time is going these days. Again, I'm excited. I'm more bullish than ever, guys. Personally, I'm more bullish on crypto, more bullish on building and blockchain than ever before. But that's my take on IBC, guys. I'm not turning my back on IBC at all. If anything, I'm going to be doing more events, live events with builders. There is a Twitter Spaces event coming up this coming Wednesday. I will be live streaming here to YouTube. So I'm going to get that event created soon so you can mark it, right? Be sure that you have it marked in your YouTube so you get reminders. But then also doing a live event on Twitter Spaces, right on Twitter. It's going to be broadcasting there as well. So we have a Twitter Spaces event going, but I will be also here. So when my mic is muted on Twitter Spaces, if it needs to be, I can do commentary here as needed or get your questions, your comments, your feedback here. Jesse M says, what's up with DYDX going Cosmos? Not interoperable with the IBC gang? Yeah, DYDX is using Cosmos because it's an extremely high performance blockchain ecosystem. Like, that should be evidence of how high performance it is and how few problems there have been with the Cosmos and Tendermint protocols, right? And SDKs. More people should be paying attention to this, and they're not. Like, I don't get it. but Jesse's catching on here. DYDX is going to use that. They may still have like an EVM tie-in because they mean to run a fully decentralized exchange, but because they're looking at centralized order book processing, they want to use their validator network to run those order books. It's a pretty ambitious project that they're taking on, but I think if they succeed at it, when they open source their entire stack, which they've committed to open sourcing, dude, the game is going to change all over again for the next bull market. Like, they are absolutely making the right choice, and in my opinion, building in the right direction to innovate beyond what the Uniswap protocol has done, right? So Uniswap is great. It's amazing, but we need something that's built in a different way and that serves a slightly different purpose for traders, and that allows for sort of a combination of CeFi and DeFi. And I think that if DYDX is successful at this, like, it'll give all of the centralized platforms and regulators and people who want to play by the old rule books, it'll give them everything they need to be able to build in the open source. But then people who want like fully decentralized options, it'll give them everything they need to make something that's way higher throughput than Uniswap, with lower fees and whatever else, and then possibly still have centralized on-ramp and off-ramp tie-ins. Like, it really is going to be a pretty amazing thing they build. So I'm very excited to see what DYDX does using, the Cosmos and Tendermint SDKs. Like, it's going to be pretty awesome. If they can pull it off, it's going to be pretty awesome. Because, they dropped Arbitrum in favor of this, right? Like, so why did they drop Arbitrum? They dropped Arbitrum because IBC actually offers that much more performance. It's very exciting times. That's Map of Zones, though, guys. So the big question from earlier on in the show, used crypto mining GPUs are flooding the market. Should you buy one? This is from yesterday over on Crypto Potato. And the author is Martin Young, so get some attribution there. Here are some GPU picks coming out of China. So South Asian e-cafes are dismantling their mining rigs, putting cards up for auction. Check it out. 3060 Ti is going for $300 to $350 US from a couple of days ago. That tweet. And I ask you, would you spend $300 to $350 on a used 3060 Ti? Well, while you're answering that question, let's open up Newegg. Newegg certainly wouldn't sell us a brand new one for cheaper than $400, so you would get a discount, but not by much. And for the warranty that you'd get on a brand new card at $350, man, why not just spring for the $400? Plus, when you're looking at some of these used mining options coming out of South Asian cafes and China, let's take a look at some of these brands, right? What is this? Galax, the name you know and trust, right? Like, let's be very real, dude. Galax? When's the last time you bought a Galax? So there's an MSI shroud, so we know that. That's familiar enough. But some of these others, is that shroud from a brand, the fan shroud, is that from a brand you know? How about those? Well, there's MSI as well. I guess there's a few MSI, but still Galax? Like, yeah, it's a brand that, I mean, I'm not too proud to say it. I've used Galax. I've used Palette. I've used like these various others. Manly and others, like these other brands that are like totally not for the domestic market. I've had these. I've got one running in a workstation right now, or a couple of workstations right now. But the point is, like, most people here, when you're looking at that versus, say, here on Newegg, right? Gigabyte, EVGA, Asus, MSI. These are all names you've actually bought from. Even Zotac, right? You might think like, oh, well, Zotac, I don't know. It's the same factory that produces the Galax and the Manly and Palette, by the way, is Zotac. So yeah, if you wouldn't buy a Zotac, if that's you, if you're one of those people who's like, nah, I wouldn't buy a Zotac, then you wouldn't want to buy one of these used Chinese brands either. But $350, that's a pretty hefty price tag for something that's been like basically eating, eating warehouse dirt and like barn animal fur, and had a bunch of crap physically run through it, and then also possibly not had its thermal paste redone since it was first deployed in a mining farm. So yeah, that's pretty rough. None of the stuff ever gets reconditioned before it's sent, and then they often will just throw it into a box, not pad it correctly, and then it shows up with broken fans and shrouds and possibly some other stuff beat up too. Gobbles says, I see a Yeston card. Yeah, good point. Good catch. So you got Shaxpert saying, do not buy a post-mining GPU because it's been on 24/7, 365, and is therefore worn out. Citation needed. Do not buy a post-mining GPU because it'll help the miner recoup some of their losses from perpetuating a BS scam. And that's the unequivocal good. Oof. So messed up, dude. Here's where, we're going to get some counterpoint going. Yeah, some of these mining rigs may have been beat up. But for gamers to start saying like, yeah, don't buy their cards because you need to support the unequivocal good. You need to help the Mother Gaia heal by not buying miner cards. Dude, get out of here. Seriously? There's a tree over there that needs some hugging. I'm not normally that guy, but I'll be that guy on this particular issue, right? Like if it's a GPU and it fits your requirements, buy it. Like, and if it fits your price, buy it. And if you don't like the price, yeah, make these Chinese miners, like make them uncomfortable and let's wait them out. Let's starve them out. Let's get the prices down even lower because it's used hardware, but don't make it about like some holier than thou, all miners are evil, so you shouldn't ever buy their hardware nonsense. Hardware is hardware. Like if it can be reconditioned, recondition it, and then just like buy at the price that makes sense to you. Make the market correct to the level it needs to be corrected. That's kind of my take there. And so you got somebody else saying, from this account, Nash076 says, I hate this website and the fact that it makes you repeat yourself so much. One more time, a used mining GPU is not going to be any more or less likely to fail than any others. I'll tell you why. And he goes on to mention a lot of these cards are run undervolted. And some of them, even though they may have like thermal paste kind of worn out, even though some of them may have been left in very harsh elements, including far too high, higher humidity than they should be. Either higher humidity or they've had dust blown through them or they've just been very, very dirty. If you recondition it, it's going to run for years. And several of us have stories of mining rigs and ASICs and stuff that run for years. Gobble says, also, your precious video games run off of data center servers. Those run constantly, drops mine. Yeah, exactly, right? It's not a question of having them run constantly. It is a question of the overall like conditions and having them exposed to the elements. That can be bad. That can be a really bad factor in your hardware. But nah, man, the fact they're running 24/7, what else is new, right? Hi, the internet is calling. It wants every single massive server farm back. So it's a mixed bag, but I think that it kind of boils down to pricing. Current pricing, I think, is still not quite low enough for people to decide to buy some of this used stuff. Ozzy Bogan Tech is in the chat, says, hey, mind your biz, Nerd Gears have some cheap GPUs and a warranty. What? We got to check it out. Nerd Gears, spelt with a Z. Boop. Should be nerdgears.com. I probably shouldn't try to do this live. Hop in front of this real fast so we don't. Oh, you know what? It helps if I spell it correctly. So nerdgears.com, pull that up and then go ahead and screen share. Looks like, yep, we got some right now. Graphics cards. Yeah, they are a pretty good clearinghouse. These are the older cards. Let's see, graphics cards only. 1660, 3060. No, I don't think so, man. Not in that same category. So a 3060 Ti Founders Edition at almost $500. These are all, yeah, I don't know that it compares quite the same. The A2000s as well at $450. I just don't know that I want that, A2000. Yeah, RTX A2000. Let's take a look at that real fast to get a comparable going. That's not bad. That's not the worst. But again, a brand new in-box warranty from Lenovo here. It's a little shorty. Shorty, what's going on, shorty? Let me holler at you. A2000, there it is. That's an interesting bracket, though. So, yeah. Gobbles says, what's funny is that I'm currently playing RuneScape. Nice. Well, hey, guys, let's take another quick survey of all the news. Finish this up, but yeah, I think pricing needs to come down for GPUs. Shiba Inu has doubled the weekly returns of Dogecoin, so there you go. Tokens outperforming sovereign blockchains. I hate saying it, guys, but there are going to be some proof of work projects that we thought were like sacred that would not ever change. We will see some proof of work projects, not Bitcoin, probably not Litecoin, probably not Monero, but some proof of work projects that you thought were going to stay proof of work forever go to proof of stake. Prepare yourself. That may happen to a project you like. That may happen to a project that you want to mine. But here it is, Shiba Inu doubling the returns of Dogecoin. And it's not that Shiba Inu is a proof of stake project. It's just that it's a token that doesn't have its own sovereign blockchain requiring proof of work or its own validator set. So that's going to happen. It happened, though. Yeah, got flipped. Gary Gensler talks about one rule book. Essentially, he's talking about interdepartment communication between the SEC and the CFTC. Do you want these organizations tattling on you one to another, or do you want them to go through due process? I want them to go through due process as it is right now. I don't want them sharing information. I want them going through due process. But you tell me, if there's any kind of a concern from the SEC, do you want them to go talk to the CFTC and vice versa? I want them to go through due process. But, I'm kind of a traditional constitutionalist. Maybe you see it differently. Finbold says the number of cryptocurrencies that are listed on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko is over 20,000, which is crazy because we see capital flight. They're losing a lot of their value, but we have more tokens and cryptos than ever. I think part of the problem here is the proliferation of tokens. So the vast majority of these are tokens, not sovereign blockchains. Do you think this is good, bad, and different? Tell me in the chat, guys. Daily Hodl, Mark Cuban analyzes play to earn, and he has an idea of how they can recover. He says, I told him, unless you're able to create enough of an economy that you're able to create productivity, meaning you have enough users that you can sell ads and sponsorships and NFTs and earn income from all those things in order to buy the SLPs and the tokens, the Axie tokens from users, meaning it's earned to buy them, then you're going to run into problems. What? Mark Cuban making sense? Yeah, he's making sense. You have to have a business plan in order for play to earn to actually be sustainable. I totally agree with the guy. So for as much as he's made some big mistakes in the space, he's dropping wisdom there, guys. He's dropping knowledge. And let's see. JP Morgan says there's still pressure under hitting up Bitcoin. Rather, it will remain under pressure. I agree with that. I think we're going to continue to see manipulation. More selling pressure is coming, but I've been saying that for a while, guys. The chopsticks apparently have done us pretty well so far. So JP Morgan is just saying what the chopsticks already told us. So there, JP Morgan, we beat you with the easiest, lamest indicator ever devised on YouTube. All right, guys, appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Really has been a pleasure. Let me know in the comments after you watch this what time of day is best for you and the approximate time zone that you'd prefer that time of day to happen, because I do want to go live more frequently if I can, but I appreciate you tuning in now. Let me know, was this helpful seeing the 360-degree view? Would this work just as well for you as a podcast? Or, I like the interaction personally on camera, but let me know if this works as a podcast for you. I'm having to restructure things just a tiny, tiny bit to make sure that we can cover all the bases, but this is important. I appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much for being subscribed, hitting that thumbs up, sharing this wherever you are, if you're watching on Twitter or if you're watching in the future on Odyssey. And let me know what I can do to help bless you in this crypto journey that we're taking together. And of course, guys, as always, love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyourbiz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you, but we do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you without censorship and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the new Mine Your Biz phone, as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for anything sold directly on the mineyourbiz website. You can earn a percentage of anything that we sell. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.